The Supreme Court appears ready to strike down Donald Trump's signature tariff program, which would be a major legal blow to his economic agenda. During oral arguments today, justices from both sides of the bench, including Roberts, Barrett, and Gorsuch, questioned whether Trump ever had the legal authority to impose those tariffs in the first place. The case centers on his use of International Emergency Economic Powers Act, a law designed for national security sanctions, not for massive trade taxes. So multiple justices suggested that Trump stretched the law beyond recognition, which is crazy, sidelining Congress and declaring an emergency to control global commerce on his own, kind of like a king would do, you know what I mean? So if the courts rule against him, it would strike down tariffs that impact nearly 100 countries and reassert that Congress, not the president, has the power to tax and regulate trade. Now, I mean, the decision's not going to come until next summer, but based on today's questioning, every conservative justice seem unconvinced that this could end up being one of the most significant rulings limiting presidential power in decades, and a direct rebuke of Trump's America First economic strategy. What we saw in the Supreme Court today was nothing short of a complete dress down of the Trump administration's legal arguments. And I mean literally one by one. The justices, including the conservatives that Trump placed himself, took apart the claim that the president can unilaterally tax the world under the guise of a national emergency. Chief Justice Roberts questioned whether the power to tax and regulate trade had ever belonged to the president. Amy Coney Barrett asked why the White House was relying on a law written for sanctions against hostile foreign powers. And Neil Gorsuch warned that accepting the argument would hand every future president basically like a blank check to do the exact same thing. So when you step back, this was more than a legal argument. It was a rebuke of executive overreach. So the courts made it clear that even in a conservative era, there are lines the president cannot cross. The Constitution gives Congress the power to tax, to spend, and to regulate commerce. Trump's team tried to rewrite that. And the justices, his justices, weren't buying it at all. The administration's lawyers struggled through basic questioning. Okay, so for example, when asked to define the limits of emergency power, he couldn't do it. When asked how a global trade policy qualifies as a security threat, he had no answer. I mean, the court's reaction was telling. You could hear the frustration from both sides. And it's really rare to see this level of consensus in such a polarized court. But today they spoke with one voice. Okay, and that's the incredible part about this. Presidential power has limits, and Trump basically went too far. So if the final ruling matches the tone of these arguments, we are looking at a landmark decision, a case that will restore balance between the executive and Congress and prove that no president, Republican or Democrat, is above the law. Trump built his economic legacy on these tariffs, but today, in the highest court in the land, that legacy was taken apart piece by piece, question by question. And it wasn't a political attack, it was a constitutional correction. And Trump, at the end of the day, might lose this one. And that means we potentially will suffer if the United States of America is forced to refund the tariffs, because we're going to be paying for that.